Gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome you all here today as we are gathered to explore and discuss the captivating topic at hand. Our topic today is Environmental Impact Assessment EIA. We are from Group 3 Class I. My name is Muhammad Afibi Arman and we have Ahmad Safudallah, Muhammad Zarif, Anik Danish, and Karo Anas. So here it's your pleasure, Anik Danish, to share with us Chapter 1.
Okay, thank you, Afiq, for the introductions. Okay, so I'm going to proceed on Chapter 1, Introduction of EIA. So, Environmental Impact Assessment, EIA, is more frequently used to refer to efforts made by both individuals and businesses, whereas the word Strategic Environmental Assessment, SEA, is used for policies, plans, and programs. And Environmental Impact Assessment, EIA, is used to gather, evaluate, and disseminate data on the environmental impact of a project which covers a wide range of concern and demand, such as buffer zones, air and water pollutions, geology and hydrology, social and cultural concerns, ecological, land values, and other things. Next. Okay, about our project. First of all, our project background. This project is a project of 90 units of double-story terrace houses in Section 77, Mukim Pulau Belanga, Daerah Sering, Jajahan Kota Baru, Kelantan, Darul Naim. So the title for our project is Cadangan Membina dan Menyiapkan 19 unit rumah teres 2 tingkat yang mengandungi 1 unit jenis A di atas lot PT 553, 7 unit jenis B di atas lot 554 dan 5 hingga 560, 1 unit jenis C di atas lot 5561, 1 unit jenis D di atas lot PT 562, 8 unit jenis E di atas lot PT 563 hingga 570 dan F unit jenis A di atas lot PT 571, Section 77, Mukim Pulau Belanga, Daerah Sering, Jajahan Kota Baru, Kelantan, Darul Naim. Okay, so the objective for our project is the company has dedicated to creating a terrace house that are able to be sold to any buyer that are interested in having a terrace house in the area. The terrace house is also created to be sold at a reasonable price to help the buyer for the need of any houses in the area. Okay, so for the chapter 2, project description. The location of our project is located at Section 77, Mukim Pulau Belanga, Daerah Sering, Jajahan Kota Baru, Kelantan, Darul Naim. And from the layout plan, as you can see, the first picture, the layout plan is on the Google Earth, the 3D of the layout plan. And the second picture is from the layout plan from the AutoCAD drawings. Okay, so the major components of units, houses that are in our project is, there is 1 unit of house type A, double-story terrace, 7 units of B type, 1 unit of C type, 1 unit of D type, 8 unit of E type, and 1 unit of F type of double-story terrace. And for the other major components is the significant pre and post construction tasks. So the construction process will be done carefully to reduce any pollution that could be produced throughout the construction process from the pre to post constructions. Then for the source of water, it is estimated that 100 employees will be used for this project. So for the 100 employees, it will be using 10 millimeter cube of water per day, and 30 millimeter cube of water per day is needed for the construction, making 40 millimeter cube of water that will be used per day for the development area. Then number 3 is air quality management. For air quality management, we are going to use dust screen to enclose the building that is going to be built at the site as a solid barrier around the entire site to minimize any impact of dust to the environment. Then for the fourth major component is the solid waste management. The waste management requirements should be specified early in the early process to ensure the contractors, the workers to be fully aware of the requirements on their work before, during, and after the construction process. Then for the drainage management, all the disposal water will be disposed to the nearest river, which is Sungai Pangkalan Datu, with a proper treatment to ensure there is no harm to the environment and eliminates any pollutions. Okay, chapter 3.
Okay, for the chapter 3, I will explain to you about the existing environment. The area of the study, for the area of the study, the project is located in an urban area and is surrounded by the residential area. The project is located at the Bandar Kota Baru, which is centers of the Kelantan state. For the characteristic of the geology and soil. Geology, clay is type of soil, which is geological elements of the proposed location for the project. Clay soil has a tendency to be alkaline and it is difficult to drain. For the clay site, the challenging part for the clay is to drain the water due to its fine particles and the compact natures of soil. So it can lead to the problem like waterlogging and the potential issue for the construction site. It is because the clay characteristic itself can retain the water for extended periods of time. Therefore, an appropriate measure and planning system are necessary to address the possible challenges that can be happen to the site area. For the soil type, the clay soil is a dense soil form that consists of 25% clay and contains a great deal of nutrient. The space or gap between the clay particles allow the clay to hold the significant amounts of water. Therefore, it tends to remain damp and moist even during the dry period. Somehow, it also can be a very beneficial in the area with limited rainfall intensity or during the dry season. However, the moisture retaining properties leads to a poor drainage system and if it is not managed properly. Therefore, the proper soil management techniques, such as implementing the drainage system, may be necessary to optimize the performance of the clay soil. For the potential of the soil erosion, the locations of the project site encompasses a variety of elevations, including flat, low, and high points, with a possibility of a landslip happens is rather to be a minimal. Narrow terrains lands generally offer a better stability and compared to the wider slope area. The flat land within the project site produce more stable ground conditions with a lower possibility of the slope failure happen. However, it is important to conduct a thorough slope stability analysis to evaluate the potential risk within every point of the elevation in our site location. Okay, next I will pass to Afiq.
My fellow friends, this chapter 4 will discuss or investigate environmental impacts, like for both conditions, like a positive and the negative. So that the both conditions are anticipated by the proposed project at every step, like demolition, earthworks, preliminary works, and during construction. For the negative impacts, it consists of air quality, soil erosion, extraction, noise pollution, solid waste generation, increased usage of energy and traffic disruption, workers and public safety. And for the positive impacts also, if job opportunities increase in the building material demand in market. More elaboration about negative impacts, I will take the air quality. For an example, during the building phases, fugitive dust will be created. The gases that are generated by motor vehicles and the stray particles of dust are the principal factors that contribute to air pollution. Site clearance, excavation, and the use of heavy vehicle and gear of equipment at the construction sites are examples construction operations that are typically related with the emissions given. Moreover, about the soil erosion and waterlogging, how after a site have been exposed by acidification activities, there is a potential that it will become waterlogged, particularly during the rainy seasons. So as a consequence, the soil will be subjected to agents that induce erosions, which is ultimately result in soil or land degradations, having a negative impact on the environment and creating waterlogging. Then, about the noise pollution, I would like to give an example. There is a possible that the level of noise and vibration will significantly increase while the planned project is being constructed. Um, there is a possibility, in addition to the people working on the building site, the vehicles and machinery utilized on the construction site can also be a source of noise and vibration of the sort. This characteristic of the noise and vibration source, such as whether it is instantaneous, intermittent, or continuous in nature. So, about the positive impacts. Um, I would like to explain about the job opportunities. It is expected that the construction of the planned project will be provide employment possibilities to the lot of people, both directly and indirectly. Included in this group are workers with no particular training, workers with some training, and workers with specialized training, which is it's all open and give to job opportunities to the Kelantan people. And then it also increase the in building materials demand in market, which is it will produce boost the economy of the Kelantan, which is the planned project will require the provision of considerable quantities of building materials, so that the majority of which will be sourced locally in the regions that are directly to the construction site. As a result, those responsible for producing and supplying the materials will have access to an existing market for the sale of their commodities. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, so for the chapter 5, which is the proposed mitigation measure, this chapter will find the ways in which the impact described in chapter 4 can be avoided, reduced, mitigated, or compensated in order to bring it to an acceptable level. Okay, for the first point, which is soil conservation. Okay, so during construction, we should have a plan in place to prevent sedimentation and soil erosion. The soil can be caused by the action of wind, water, or gravity alone, or by a combination of all three of these factors. This is because the earth is becoming more eroded, the particles of soil have become more mobile and become dispersed. The name given to particles of soil that are in the process of traveling to a new location or that have moved to a new location and settled here is sediment. The construction process requires a significant amount of earth movement, both intentionally and accidentally. Okay, so for the second point, which is solid waste management. The clearing of a site and the development of a construction project frequently result in the production of a great deal of garbage, which can include concrete, steel, wooden scaffolding, foams, beds, and various earth materials. If this rubbish is not dealt with properly and disposed of in the appropriate location, then there is a possibility that it will have a negative impact on the surrounding ecosystem. Then this is recommended that waste materials generated during construction activities such as construction and demolition (C&D) material, chemical waste, and general refuse from the workforce be periodically to determine if they are being managed in following with the site waste management plan and approved procedure. Okay, so the next point, which is what measure to minimize the impact. Okay, so this is possible that development projects will have an effect on the surrounding environment. The use of various resources is where the majority of the direct impact of the construction of residential and commercial buildings, as well as other kinds of infrastructure, is felt. This is necessary to take into account the manner in which the construction process takes place because of the effect it has on the environment of the site. When planning an excavation, by taking into consideration the surrounding environment is one way to lessen the influence on it. It is important to take into account the components of the location, such as the various types of plants. The construction work that is taking place close to natural rivers need to be done very carefully to avoid polluting any of the water. The next one, which is what measure to maintain water quality. As the construction move forward, it is possible that will be essential to take safeguards in order to prevent the contamination of water channels and to compensate for the temporary loss of floodplain storage. It is imperative that the hydro brake, gullies, and gasoline interceptor all be subjected to routine inspection in order to guarantee that that the location does not become contaminated or experience an excessive amount of water runoff. By directing surface water from excavation to an on-site setting pond, it will be possible to remove sediment from the water before it is discharged, which will reduce the possibility that the contaminants will enter the local water supply in an even greater quantity. Okay, so the next point, which is stormwater drainage. When land is currently being utilized and how it will be used in the future has connected to the quantity and quality of stormwater both now and in the future. The sort and concentration of land use will have a significant impact on the quantity and quality of pollutant that are washed from the land surface into the drainage system. Regular inspection of water use can assist in the prevention of leaks and water being wasted. Therefore, the span standard ought to be added to for the management of stormwater. Okay, Zarif will continue the next slide.
Okay, for the chapter 6, I will explain about environment management plan. Environment management plan is a site-specific plan that is created to ensure that the project is implemented in a way that is environmentally sustainable, where all contractors and subcontractors, including consultants, environmental management plan, which is known as EMP, is to ensure that project is implemented in a way that is environmentally sustainable. EMP also makes certain that project is carried out in line with the design by adopting the required mitigation measures to decrease the negative effect. So we have three objectives of the environmental management plan. The first is to ensuring that the purpose of construction project is in accordance or follow the rules and the regulation that criteria outlined by the relevant authorities and government organizations. The second one is to investigate whether the activities associated with the project could be linked to any environmental issues or hazard. And the third objective is to determine which guidelines and precautions should be taken in order to mitigate the effects of the project. So the environmental monitoring program consists of 4 stages or phases. The first stage is plan preparation stage. A visit to the site is required before construction can begin so that an assessment may be made of the terrain, state of land, and any previous activities that may have taken place in the area. The second is pre-construction phase. In this phase, the architect, design engineer, and contractor present the specifics of the design drawing. The design will require specification and other necessary documents are included in the plan. The third is the construction phase. The construction phase is the process refers to the series of steps that must be taken in order to successfully finish a building project. And the fourth is the post-construction phase. Post-construction is a collective of all the final process completed to hand finish the project over to the owner or to the client. It is important to verify that all control facilities have been installed in line with the construction plans and specification are follow the design after the building is finished. Next is the conclusion. For the conclusion, this project is to develop double-story terrace house in section 77, Jajahan Kota Baru, Kelantan Darul Naim. The ecological relevance of this project has been given top priority and measures have been taken to ensure that it will not in any way contribute to the destruction of the surrounding ecosystem. This is accomplished by taking measures that address a wide variety of environmental concerns and requirements such as buffer zones, air, water pollution, air pollution, geology and hydrology, and also the ecology. That's all from us. Thank you.